Are you struggling with your Isochain exercises? Has your weightlifting hit a plateau? To be honest, it's probably because your grip is So there's no guessing here. Grip is involved in pretty much any exercise that we do. Even if we throw away weightlifting for a second or Isochain or whatever, and we're just talking about ADLs, activities of daily living, 9 times out of 10, whatever you're doing, it involves your hands, your grip. We need that. One of the fastest ways to get better at all our lifts is to increase our grip strength. One of the quickest ways that I got my bicep curl so freaking high on the Isochain, and just over the years in the gym, just curling heavier and heavier weights. Yes, it's my biceps, of course, but it's primarily because I also train my forearms as well. And as a result, I was able to start curling 50, 60, 70, 80 pounds without throwing my back out of whack and using terrible form. Farmers carries, deadlifts, especially deadlifts, lat pull downs, rows. It's not just the pulls either. Have you ever been doing an overhead press or bench press and your wrists start to hurt? Have you done the bicep curl on the Isochain and you wonder why you keep running into wrist pain after you finish the 6-second contraction? It's because they're weak. So I've come up with 3 exercises on the Isochain that we can do today to strengthen our wrist extensors, our forearms, so that we can start skyrocketing past not only those numbers, but also anything that involves pulling on the chain, and subsequently any weightlifting where we may have hit a plateau. Isometrics are one of the best plateau busters. Let's get into it with number 1. Alright guys, so the first one we're going to cover is the wrist curl from the seated position. Now I really like the setup here when the forearm is in contact with the top of the quadricep, which pretty much allows for no movement, and it's literally just a wrist extensor coming up. This allows for fantastic control, but also the ability to just target that area, which is going to work wonders for stimulating a mind-muscle connection with the wrists, which usually aren't that great because people really don't use the forearms that much in training like we should. Now here you see me going into a 6-second contraction. Keep in mind, when I make this video, it's not just for 6-second contractions. We can also utilize hypertrophy as well. We can go into those 20 to 45 second holds, and if we really need to make sure that our grip just doesn't give out, we can always go for the endurance hold at 20 to 30% of our maximal contraction. Switching it up, we can go into a pronated wrist curls with the palms facing down and bringing them up. Now, expect a much lower number, as this version of the wrist curl rarely produces a lot of force. But it's very important. I've had clients over the years do supinated and pronated wrist curls, and they've noticed their curl and rowing numbers start to go up more than normal. Now, I wouldn't say skyrocket, but the rate of increase and progressive overload does increase with this exercise. I love it. It's a mainstay. I highly recommend utilizing the wrist curl, supinated and pronated, which is going to bring us to our next exercise, which is the reverse curl. Now, there's 2 ways that we can do the reverse curl. What I really like about the reverse curl though is that we can just set it up as the same chain link as the bicep curl. The 2 ways are with our wrists straight to really strengthen our wrist. Now expect the number to be lower, or we can really hit the brachioradialis hard and do the dinosaur arm version. Now this is my personal favorite, and this is a shout out to one of my good friends, Warren, who is soon to be a pro arm wrestler, and he taught me that technique, and it has been a mainstay for almost 6 months now, and it's great. I love the burn and I love the results. I've definitely noticed a huge increase in my bicep curls as a result of this, and now whenever I do reverse curl, I almost exclusively do the dinosaur arm version, I like to call it that, because of the direct brachioradialis involvement. Now, if we don't want to do that and that feels weird, it feels like you're about to pull a muscle, that's fine. Go ahead and do the version here with the wrists out. Now, this is almost going to simulate the supinated position of the seated wrist curl for the reverse curl, but you're still getting all the benefits of strengthening up your wrist by trying to keep it straight. Now, like I said, expect a lower number, but it's a fantastic exercise. And now, bringing us to the most underrated grip exercise on the Isochain. I freaking love this exercise. This exercise was on the Sweet 16 routine. If you haven't seen that video, here's a link right here. It's the first Isochain routine I've ever done on the channel, and period. The finger pull. I love this exercise. Now real quick, if you haven't seen the finger pull exercise and how to perform it, here's a link right here. Go ahead and check that out. It's on the How to Perform Isochain series playlist that we have here on the channel for all the newcomers. It's a great exercise. The key here is not to perform a shrug. There is an option to do a standing wrist curl from the same chain link, but from what I've experienced so far, now this is just my opinion of course, I feel it's better to do the wrist curl seated because there will be zero spinal flexion and it's just directly going to the wrist, which is where we want it to go. The finger hold lights up your entire brachioradialis. I love it. It also hits our traps and a little bit of our upper back too. All we do is we pull our arms straight up, but we're pulling with our grip, not our biceps. That's the key. The trick to this is to find the correct handle length. What I've found works for me, and it might be different for you watching, is to find out whatever your standing shoulder shrug chain link is and go one notch below. If our shoulder shrug is here, if we're extending our fingers, we're just a little lower than what we normally would be. So just have that one chain link. If it ends up being that that's a little bit too much, go back to the shoulder shrug chain. We're pulling our fingers up with an attempt to roll the bar further into our hand. If you found this helpful in increasing your grip strength, sure to drop a like, go ahead and comment. If you're not yet part of No Limit Squad, hit that subscribe button. We growing, baby. Join the squad. We'll see you next video. Peace.